Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
All right, guys, welcome in. Time for another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show, playoff edition, powered by WagerTalk.com. As we got a couple of games on the board here tonight, game twos, in fact, one in the East, one in the West. We're going to talk the Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks and the Portland Trail Blazers taking on the Denver Nuggets, and we will break these games down with three of the absolute finest all year long. You guys have been following along. Ski Prophet in the house, Stevie in the middle, Maryland, of course, Rob Vino, the Monday crew here, ready to tackle these two games on a $9 Monday, in fact, at WagerTalk.com, where best bets, $9 today, guys. All you got to do is head over to WagerTalk.com, visit Ski's page, of course, Steve's page, and Rob's page. Best bets ready to roll here. So, guys, before we start diving in to these two games here tonight, just want to get some of your initial thoughts on what we've witnessed here in the first weekend of the NBA playoffs, a weekend where, in many aspects, Ski, it seemed like what was up was down, what was down was up. If you were expecting home teams to shoot well from three-point range, guess again. That wasn't happening. Dallas, the Clippers, no answer for Doncic. Anthony Davis getting all sorts of beat up by the Phoenix Suns there. The Knicks allowing the one guy to beat them that they knew could beat them, ended up beating them with the last shot. So craziness, though. What did you pull away from the first weekend here in the NBA playoffs?
Just a short summary, I guess. I'll say Trae Young looks like a big time player. The Jazz are frauds, like I thought they were. The Sixers, I thought they would be a little bit better. So I wasn't really impressed in that Sixers game because they gave up a lot of points for how good that their defense is. The Nets, well, really just the Celtics aren't ready. So I was expecting the Nets to win. They just needed a second for them to get going. Maybe a little rusty to start the game, that was all. But I think the Nets are going to just cruise in that series. And Clippers are going to clip. I think we know that by now. Everybody in LA for sure knows that. And we'll see. We're going to talk about the Heat and the Bucks today.
Yeah, it was an interesting weekend, Steve, that's for sure. Those that had Dylan Brooks over points, rebounds, and assists last night, congratulations. You were the only one. But weird. I mean, Clippers having no answer for Doncic. It's not like that's a new situation to them. They should have known what they were getting with Doncic. But you had the Knicks in a close game. The Miami Heat, and we'll get into that game, was terrible. But the big three in Brooklyn showed up and showed out in the second half. So some of your thoughts on what we saw.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't hear Ski cover the Laker recap.
Yeah, it's shocking. Yep, shocking.
Yeah, but for those that missed it, they were down by 13 heading into the fourth quarter. And by the way, the only team of those four play-in teams that didn't lose by at least 7 or more was Memphis. And I guess the fact that the first three all lost by 7 or more, Quinn Snyder thought he could get cute and just sit Mitchell halfway through the afternoon, decide not to play him so that he could jump up and down on the bench because he was so injured, not able to play. So I don't know what to make of Utah. I thought it was a really good spot. I had it as a strong play yesterday. It did not work out. 13-4 run is now 13-5, and it was only the second loss in the NBA postseason. I think 5-2. So I've had a pretty good feel here, but I did not have a feel for Utah. And like Ski said, I mean, the Jazz, maybe they are an overrated team. We'll see if they bounce back in game 2 coming up. Something I want to point out quickly, though, about Saturday's games, NCAA tournament this year, that three-point shooting on or off really made the difference. It's like turnovers in the NFL. If you could tell me the three-point margins ahead of time, we'd all hit 90%. But just look at game ones on Saturday. The Miami Heat were plus 40% to 16%. They were plus 45 points. They made 15 threes more than Milwaukee, and they still lost the game. That could be a really bad sign going forward. I had a best bet on Brooklyn. The Boston Celtics were plus 9. Nets shot 24% from 3, and the Nets still covered and won the game. I think that's a pretty bad sign for Boston and Miami both there. We talked about that Dallas Clipper game. You look at the Clippers. I didn't use anything in game one. I did mention I think they're going to win this series on Friday's show. I stayed off game one, though. Dallas, 47 to 28%, plus 18 points. That was the difference in that game. And then, of course, that Portland-Denver game, as I mentioned, I liked Denver on Sunday night. That's the only other playoff game I've missed other than Utah. Portland, 48 to 31, plus 24 points from three-point line. So, it really was that simple. If we can predict, and I'll see if Rob Vino can do it, but, we can predict the three-point shooting, you're going to pretty much figure out these games.
Well, Rob, the home teams, what's the word I'm looking, sucked from shooting 3 points. In fact, the New York Knicks were the only home team that shot better than 33% from three-point range in the playoffs over the weekend. So the New York Knicks of all teams, kind of crazy, but are you anticipating a big turnaround here shortly this week for these home teams?
Well, I think, when we talked on Saturday, Joe, we brought into play this 2020 hindsight with rest or rust. You take a look at these home favorites that had 6 days off to play and what they did in the first half. Against the spread, they're 2-5-1. I'll go through it quick. Milwaukee at halftime is winning 53-50, good for a push. They didn't necessarily play great. Brooklyn was horrendous first half. They had 20 points total with about 9.5 left in the first half. They lose the first half 53-47. Home favorite, New York Knicks, can't put them in a better role. They lose the first half 52-50. Home favorite, Philadelphia 76ers. They give up 62 points. They're supposed to have all world defenders all over the floor. They're losing 62-61 at the half. The Clippers losing 60-55 at the half. Denver does cover 61-58, came back with a big second quarter. They cover halftime. Phoenix covers. They go wire to wire. And then Utah, of course, as you guys mentioned, 43 points at halftime. They don't cover. So 2-5-1 for those home favorites. I would expect that those first halves are out of their system because Steve mentioned a couple second half bounce backs, particularly Brooklyn, who destroyed Boston in the second half. Philadelphia came back. So, I think that there was a lot of rust. Now that we can backfit our argument, right? We can backfit it and say there's a lot of rust on those teams. And maybe we see different outcomes here the next few days. Let me speak real fast, guys, on this. Is Ben Simmons any good or is he a liability? Because it's all over Twitter after Sunday. And, hey, listen, the guys that relentlessly defend Ben Simmons always point out how good his statistical numbers are in the categories where he's good. And detractors can't argue those things. Simmons can pass. Simmons can lead a break. Simmons can rebound. And then the detractors that tell you in the playoffs, especially half-court offense, Ben Simmons is worthless. I'm sitting there thinking yesterday when Joel Embiid got the, kind of a phantom third foul, right? And he gets pulled out of the game. And then you're watching the Philly offense. And I'm thinking to myself, I'd almost take any other point guard remaining in the playoffs to run my offense through than Ben Simmons. You can't run offense through this guy. He's pathetic. You watch him at the end of games, guys, and just watch his movement and where he goes. He'll give the ball up and then he floats down to the baseline and hangs out there almost setting up for box out position. He doesn't want the ball back. Yeah. Missed all his free throws. So, the love-hate relationship for people between Ben Simmons, that's going to continue this whole series because he's not going to shoot. He's not going to do anything other than what he does best, and he might fill those statistical categories. But without Joel Embiid, that Philadelphia 76ers team, if they didn't have him, they might be a first-round exit because if it wasn't for Tobias Harris taking over in that first half yesterday, yikes, they would have been in trouble. So Philly's an interesting case study, but if Embiid stays on the floor, they're going to win that series. They had a big second half. Everything else, I think these guys covered pretty well. I survived that Donovan Mitchell deal, getting, not playing. I had the total over, and then when it's announced he's not going to go, I'm thinking, now I'm stuck with this thing. But they had a big second half point-wise to get it over. So we'll see going forward with Utah. I don't think they're overrated. I just think you can take that argument used against them and apply it to 5 other teams that were home favorites over the weekend.
Doesn't sound like you're anticipating Tobias Harris to drop 31 points again here consistently on a regular basis. So somebody better step up or step out for the Sixers. But Bottom line is we're off and running in the playoffs here, guys, in the association. A couple of game twos tonight. We are going to dive in to the first one, and this will be game two in the Eastern Conference between the Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, we touched base on it a little bit here. We're talking about a Milwaukee Bucks team, one of those home teams that was 5 of 31 from 3, going up against a team with the Miami Heat that was 40%. Well, they shot 53-point shots in the game, and they made 40% of them and still lost by 2. I think the records speak for themselves when it comes to that, guys. I think it's the first time that we've ever seen that kind of lopsidedness from three-point range and a team actually lose. It hasn't happened in a very long time. In fact, there it is. The Heat made 15 more three-pointers than the Bucks, but still lost. In fact, this game went to overtime, guys, and still didn't hit the over in there. Kind of crazy, especially when we're looking at it from a playoff perspective. But the truth is, the market, they are speaking loud and clear. This game opened up at around 4, and it's Miami's getting the bulk of the tickets, but the line is going towards the Bucks, which means obviously the bigger bettors, they are leaning on the Bucks to shoot better than 5 of 31 and anticipating them to get the job done here at home tonight. The total, 227 is what we had in game 1. Now we're down to 222.5, and it hasn't moved an awful lot, Ski. So I'll come to you first here. Do you agree with the market, at least the bigger bettors here? Do you agree that the Bucks are the way to look in this matchup?
For the most part, I think I do. Initially, and I'm going to take one off because I'm getting an echo, but initially I thought about the Heat, and I was like, Jimmy Butler and Adebayo got to play better than they played in that game. But maybe, I mean, it's just the Bucks defense. You look at, they were 8 for 37, I think, in that game, but they shot 40% from 3, and that's the rest of the guys. I know Jimmy Butler was 2 for 9. He doesn't need to really shoot any more threes, but they shot 40% and didn't win. Like, I don't know. I feel like the Bucks shooting is more correctable as far as their 3-point percentage, rather than Jimmy and Bam having success. So I think I agree and like the Bucks to cover this one.
Total is interesting also, Merrill, when you look at it, because is it an overreaction? We made a lot of money this season with contrarian plays for moves just like that, where the market just kind of overreacts. I mean, that's a 5-6 point swing from what we saw the line in game 1. What do you think we're going to see here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, the game obviously well under, like you said, even with overtime. I do think Milwaukee will shoot better overall, but then again, Miami probably can't nearly shoot as well as they did from 3. I think 3 is what's random. I think 2-point offense is not as random, and the Milwaukee Bucks outshot Miami from 2-point range 57% to 33% in that game. So, I'm staying away from the total on this one. Milwaukee is the way to play the side. I could always make an argument for it against any team, and I've been doing this for 25 years. There's no such thing as 100% lock. It doesn't work that way. But the only arguments I can really make for Miami is the old zigzag theory. Their team coming off a loss, but that's often because the other team overlooks them and doesn't make the necessary adjustments. Milwaukee's the team that needs to make adjustments here, and I don't think they're going to overlook Miami after getting a scare and going to overtime. And then on top of that, like you said, Joe, it looks like a lot of the public is actually betting the Heat here. There's some sharp money on Milwaukee. And I'm not so sure they have a big 3-point edge. I mean, yes, they outshot them 40 to 16% in this last game, as we talked about. But it was 45-37 back in the May 15th meeting. Back in the 2 December meetings, it was 39-39. And Milwaukee actually outshot them 57-30 back in the first game of the season. So I think those things even out. Milwaukee, I think that 2-point dominance continues. And just to put that in perspective once again, not only was it 57 to 33%, but the Milwaukee Bucks on the game, Miami took 99 attempts. They only made 36 shots. They made 23s and only 16 2-pointers in the entire game, including overtime. So I don't think that's the kind of mismatch that's going to change in just one day. Milwaukee is the way to play this one, in my opinion.
All right, looking like Milwaukee is the way to go. Rob Vino, talk to me here. It was a wild game number 1. Neither star, shall we say, Giannis or Jimmy Butler, showed up or showed out, really, for the most part. What are we going to see different here tonight?
Well, lots of things to uncover here. Steve hit on one that I was going to talk about briefly, but Miami, for all their 20 for 50 from 3-point range, was 16 of 37 from two. Now, there's a quote here, a couple of quotes from Goran Dragic after this game, discussing what they saw. And as we know, guys, um, if there's a coach better than Eric Spoelstra in making game-to-game adjustments, even in-game adjustments, I don't know if he's in the playoffs. I mean, he ranks right up there as one of the 2 or 3 best, right? So here's what Dragic had to say. Dragic said, "We know their game plan. They're going to pack the paint. Lopez is going to be in drop. He's going to be inside. It was tough for us to get anything inside the paint or on lobs. The biggest key for us in game 2 is to score more in open floor and transition. That's probably the change you get in this game. That would lend itself to faster pace. Milwaukee does not shy away from faster pace. That would lend itself to what you said to start this whole thing, Joe. Is it too much of a drop in the total? 227 to 222 and a half full game, 115 and a half to 113 and a half for the first half. So if you get more transition, like Dragic says, you probably get a quicker pace in this game. Another thing that was miserable in that game, Milwaukee shoots 13 more free throws. They shoot 32 free throws, but they couldn't shoot them. 20 of 32. They missed 12, right? Their plus 13 only turns into a plus 5 on the scoreboard. They got to make more free throws than that. This game put up the second worst out of the 8 games played this week, and it was the second worst combined by both teams 2-point field goal percentage in the game ones across the board. They only shot 40%, 2 teams combined from twos. That's going to be better in my estimation. It was Jimmy Butler's first game this season against Milwaukee. He said, I needed to see what they were going to do to me. Now I know what they're going to do to me. I'll be ready. He's 4 of 22 in that contest. And last but not least, that number that I keep, potential points scored in a game, if every shot goes in the basket, these 2 teams scored the lowest percentage of possible points of any of the 8 games. They only scored 41.4% of the points. That was the lowest of all 8 games. I just don't think it's going to remain that way, Joe. So to me, I think, yes, total drop too low. 216 with overtime. Everybody missed shots. I don't know that happens here today. And if we get increased pace, I think over might be a way to go.
Yeah, it's I'm with you. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And we looked at angles like that all year long, and we're able to profit from it. And to your point, Rob, Jimmy Butler after that game didn't sound all that worried about losing game 1, even in the kind of fashion that they did. We'll see what happens and whether or not he does better than 4 of 22, which they're going to need him to do. So that's game 1 here tonight, guys. We head over to the West to check out game number 2 between the Denver Nuggets and the Portland Trailblazers. This game opens up pretty much close. I mean, I'm seeing 1.5. I'm seeing a couple of 2s in between there across the board. That being for the Denver Nuggets in a bounce back situation. Total opened up at 228. That's come down a little bit. I'm seeing a lot of 226s, 226.5. So, Merrill, I'll come to you here. Talk to me. Like Rob said, they certainly played well in the first half, Denver, and then kind of got blitzed. And they kind of took Jokic out of the game in the second half. And, Lillard and company did what they've been doing. They got hot from 3, and it was lights out, game over. What are we going to see different here tonight, do you think?
Yeah, this is one of those series, rather, where the road team is favored to win the series before game 1. Now they're a bigger favorite here, Portland, yet Denver has been the home favorite in both games 1 and 2. Similar situation, of course, with the Lakers-Phoenix. And I think this is a tight series. We talked about it on Friday's show briefly. Portland was about a minus $1.15 series favorite. So I think the zigzag angle will work in this series pretty well. And Denver did cover the first half. As Rob mentioned earlier, they won by 3, even though they lost the game overall, won the first half by 3. And as I talked about earlier, once again came down to 3-point shooting. Portland, 48% from beyond the arc. Nuggets, 30.5%. That was 11 for 36 versus 19 for 40. That was the difference in the game. Granted, it could happen again. It's always possible, but I think these 2 teams are pretty equal all around. Denver, meanwhile, shoots 37.5% for the season. Portland, 38.5%. Denver has a better 3-point defense than Portland for the season. So I think that was a one-off. I look for the Nuggets to play better at home tonight in Game 2, and I think we get some value with them in this situation.
You know, Rob, you and I have talked about it. We talked about it on Sirius XM over the weekend. As good as Jokic is, they're outgunned here. I mean, let's face it, with a healthy McCollum now, Damian Lillard, Powell, it's a guard league. When you look at what they bring to the table, it's kind of hard not to envision what we're going to see again and that we saw in the second half in Game 1 here. Do we see anything different in your estimation?
Yeah, I'm with you, Joe. I mean, we talked about it Friday too when we were when we had the big panel and we were looking for series underdogs. At that point in time, Portland had switched over from underdog to favorite. But everything I thought then, I think still. Portland again. You're comfortable with these guys shooting the basketball. It doesn't matter. It's not just Damian Lillard. National media will try to make Portland all about Damian Lillard, but it's so far from the truth because McCollum can explode. Carmelo can explode. The Toronto kid, Norman Powell, can explode. You get Anthony Simons, guys, was hurt a lot of the year. This is a 40% plus shooter that nobody talks about that goes 4 for 5 because they're not being. Listen, they have too many people. They have too many scorers on this team for Denver. Jokic played out of his mind as long as he could. Michael Porter Jr. offensively played out of his mind as long as he could. They threw Michael Porter Jr. in a lot of pick and roll on the defensive end and took advantage of him. Remember last year we were talking about Porter Jr. maybe being defensive liability in the playoffs. He's got to learn a little bit on the defensive end. The only problem I have here, Joe, with not going right back, and I'm already in on the series, so I think I'm fine with this game. But the only thing that holds me back is I just, Denver, you like to say they can't go down 0-2 at home and then go back to Portland down 2-0 because that series could end in Portland. So I don't know if I could play Portland here just based on the energy, the effort you're going to get out of Denver. All that being said, I don't know if Denver's best is enough because there's just not enough guys until Will Barton gets back in this lineup to give them more ability or at least a 25-plus point guy on any given night. I don't know what to do with these guys. You saw Campazzo trying everything he could to stop Lillard. Lillard was getting pretty tired of him in the second half.
Yeah.
He was pushing him away and yelling at him. So for me, I think, if you've got Portland series in your pocket already, I think you're good. Tonight, if I had to, I'd probably play him again, but I don't want to. I just don't want to tempt myself against Denver in this type of situation.
Let's not forget here, Ski, too. Wasn't it Denver that came back from down 3-1 and not one but two series in a couple of playoffs not too long ago? So you never count them out, not as long as Jokic is there. And, again, I don't think Michael Porter Jr. is going to go 1 of 10 from 3 again in those types of situations. So what do you think we're going to see here in Game 2 of this game tonight in Denver?
Well, just to touch on a couple of things that Rob said. For one, the Anthony Simons, I mean, I think that's a good look today. If you look at his points, pretty low. Points, rebounds, assists, they even have at 10.5. He had 14 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. So there's still value there, I think. So that's a great point there by Rob. And Lillard, he's going to eat Campazzo. Campazzo can't stay with him. If you're watching the game, they got to do something else. They have to do something else defensively. Portland coming off those screens, we know they don't have a good pick and roll defense for Denver, and it's no one-on-one matchup that they can hold at the guard position. So it's tough not to think Portland, but with the MVP Jokic over there and their last game at home, I would maybe lean Denver, but I think the play is on the total. I like points from either side. The guards are going to get their points from the Portland side. Portland's defense isn't good, and Jokic can eat on the other side. Porter Jr. is going to score. I like points. I'm going over the total.
Going over the total here tonight. All right, love it. Feel like the market is still all over the place in both of these games when it comes to the total. But there you got it. Miami and Milwaukee, Game 1 tonight. Late game will be Denver and Portland, both Game 2s in their series. Just a quick reminder here, guys. Don't forget $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. If you head over to Ski's page as well as Steve Merrill and Rob Vino, you've got best bets for $9 up and locked, loaded, ready to go here tonight. as MLB underway, of course. We've got NBA playoffs, WNBA in full swing for Ski. So a lot happening for $9 right now. No reason not to make it a profitable Monday. All right, gentlemen, we'll go around the horn here quick. A lot of different ways, a lot of different angles to approach these games. I'll ask you just lay out a best bet for us on where you're going to be leaning here tonight. Ski, I'll start with you, my man. Throw it out there. What's our best bet of the night with these two games? And Ski muted us. So are you miming? Do you want me to mime it? What are you? Are we reading lips now? What are we doing? Good Christ. Buzz his ass for that. Go ahead, go.
So I'll mention this, though, really quick. My best bet of the night is going to come in the WNBA. And yeah, you can get that one, I guess, $9 Monday. And for the NBA, my best bet tonight would probably have to be the over in the Portland and Denver game. It's just hard for me to see either team having success playing defense on the other, and too many matchups to take advantage of. We'll see how they adjust in this one, but until they do, I like points in this one. I don't understand why the total is dropping.
Yeah, me neither.
6.5.
Yep. 226.5, 226 even too in some of those spots. So absolutely opening up at 228.5. Over would be the best bet there in Denver. Portland. You don't see Portland playing a lot of defense tonight, huh? Who are we kidding? They haven't played it all that damn year, man. And go ahead, Steve Merrill, talk to me, my man. Of the two games here tonight, what way you leaning? What's your best bet here?
Yeah, first of all, it's $9 Monday. $9 Monday always gets me excited. I woke up very excited today on Monday for $9 Monday, and then Rob Vino said, "Damn it, Steve, you got to make it better. Make it $4.50 Monday."
God Almighty!
And I said, "That sounds good. Let me run it by Ski Profit." And Ski said, "Hell no, you got to make it $3 Monday, 3-for-1 Monday." So we got Tony Finn to get John Ryan on the dark web. We confirmed with everyone $3 Monday is better than $4.50 or $9 Monday. So it's $3 Monday right now. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, 3-for-1 special. NBA and Major League Baseball best bets tonight. Going to go to a game we talked about for the best bet here on the show. That's the Milwaukee Bucks minus the points. I think that 3-point off shooting can never happen again, and they still won the game. It was about as extreme as you're going to ever see. Once again, 20 for 50 versus what was it for Milwaukee? I think 5 for 31. They dominated down low, 57% to 33% from 2-point range. It happens tonight. They win by double digits. Milwaukee Bucks. Thank you, Rob, for the advice. Thank you, Ski Profit, for the advice. You both get trophies. And even you, Joe Ranieri, get a sneaky trophy coming up right there. So trophies for everybody on Monday. There we go.
I don't want your friggin' trophy. I just wanted a best bet. I didn't want it. Now, Rob Vino's got his abacus out. He's trying to figure out how to get 3-for-1 on a $9 Monday. Subtract 2 with the... Rob, what did you come up with? Because he's figured out somehow to make $9 Monday into $3 Monday. I don't know how he did it. Maybe it's the trophies. But go ahead. What do you got going tonight, and what's your best bet?
Yeah, well, I went to my conversion chart, Joe, and figured out that you can get Steve's whole month for 62.7 Dogecoin. So if you've got it in tow, you can get every pick he has for the entire month. I approve that, Steve. You can run that deal.
It's pronounced
right
doggy
now.
coin.
Use that. Yeah, see, get your doggy coins and go buy Steve's month. He's red hot, by the way. All joking aside, guys, Steve's been. I saw some numbers this morning where overall been killing it. So congratulations to Steve. Now, real quick here, let's get to what we were talking about. Maybe a best bet for tonight. I'm going to go where Ski went, but I'm going to split it in half. Again, Portland doesn't have to play defense because in their minds they can outscore these guys. Up and down. I got a winner the other day, first half over 115.5. Surprising to me that I saw this total come right back in the same vicinity. Denver can try to play defense all they want, but against this team, there's just too many options. Somebody would have to go stone cold in this game first half for it not to go over. So I'm going to lean that way, Joe. I think Denver comes out hot, Portland as well. Second half, maybe if it gets tight at the end, you get some defense. So give me first half over 115.5, 116 in the Portland-Denver game.
Yeah, nothing not to like about that one, too. Ski's going over full game. Rob Vino over in the first half. And Merrill's trying to figure out what the hell doggy coin really means and what the conversion chart is. Absolutely unreal. But don't forget it. They told you guys.
Joe.
Yeah, I know. No kidding. Do not forget here, guys, the opportunity to make it a profitable $9 Monday for Ski. It's a $3 Monday for Merrill, and Rob Vino's got Dogecoin somewhere in a conversion chart, I believe. Bottom line is, best bets are ready to go over at WagerTalk.com. So once again, guys, to a review here, what we got going for our best bets tonight with these gentlemen. You go. Oh, no. Oh, no. I see it up on the screen. I know it's coming. I know it's coming, so just bring it up on the screen. Just go ahead and do it. Is it not? It's there. I know. There it is. It is the NBA angle of the day, courtesy of our good friend John Ryan. Now, on Friday, we had a very interesting angle. We'll go ahead and throw that up there. Tori Coker, again, talked about the teams who go to the strip club and spend over 5 G's on bottles while the other team is blazing. While that actually worked out, and we appreciate it, Tori, we're going to look at John Ryan's angle today, where it says that we're going to bet the under if 220 or more points is on the board and the team is well rested, playing only their 4th game in 10 days. And if the team has a winning record of 60% or higher on the season, and that opponent sports the opponent sports a winning record on the season. Let me see if I figured that out. Bet the under if 220 or more, the team well rested, the team with a winning record or higher on the season, and the opponent also has a winning record on the season, then 27-14-1 to the under. So what are they looking at? They're looking at the under in the Miami Heat versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Game 2, which, as we are speaking, seems to be creeping up here, Rob Vino. 222.5, I'm starting to see 223s, even a 224 popping up around the horn. So flying in the face of John Ryan's angle, but no doubt we will break it apart again tomorrow. So to recap what you've got here, guys, Ski has his $9 best bets, including WNBA, up at Wager Talk, and he's going to go Blazers Nuggets over the total 226.5. Merrill's got just, I don't know, it's like 14 for 1, something going on over there for $9 at Merrill's page, and he likes the Bucks laying the 4.5. Rob Vino still working on that conversion calendar because apparently Dogecoin lost 30 cents, is now only worth 2 cents. So he's still going to go with the Blazers Nuggets first half over 115.5. Our good friend John Ryan over at sportsmemo.com. He thinks the under is the way to go in the Miami Heat Bucks game. 223.5 is what we are seeing now, as it has creeped up just a bit. All right, guys, please go ahead and visit these guys over at WagerTalk.com. Best bets are ready to go here, which means it could be a profitable Monday. Hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. Come back and join us again tomorrow. We'll have yet another edition, the playoff edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show, powered by WagerTalk.com. On behalf of Ski, Stevie in the middle, Merrill, and Rob Vino, guys, best of luck with your plays one way or the other. Make it a profitable evening. Come back and join us again tomorrow. We'll see you then.